Oil is at $112 a barrel. Gold is sitting around $4,700. And Goldman Sachs just told us hedge funds sold global equities at the fastest pace in 13 years last month. But S&P 500 bounced 3.4% this week. Not too bad, right? So, which is it? Is the worst over, or is the biggest sucker rally of 2026 just last week? That's what we're figuring out today. I'm pulling back the curtain on the macro backdrop, walking you through the key basket names and giving you the exact chart levels I'm watching heading into next week. So let's get to it. So bigger picture macro, Iran war and energy markets. The Iran war is still the single biggest macro variable in the market. Trump has vowed basically to hit Iran extremely hard, quote unquote, and markets sold off violently, right? And this past week, they recovered. But if you saw Trump's tweet, I think it was just today, it's going to be bridge day and energy day by Tuesday if something doesn't happen. So the big picture is the war is not over. And I'm pretty sure he also commented on not having an end date coming up either. So there's no end to the war. The IEA called it the greatest global energy security challenge in history. WTI, $112 per barrel. Over 600 million barrels of supply are at risk, basically because of the Strait of Hormuz. Gold, again, sitting at 4,700. It's kind of a safe haven demand at extreme levels, but looking at the gold chart, it might pull back. We shall see. So really what this means is risk off under the surface. That's how I see it. Even during the bounce. Remember, bounces in bear markets are rapid, they are violent, and that is exactly what happened. If you look at this SPX chart, this is the cash index of the S&P 500. It broke prior support, moved down, and it basically bounced at 10%. So algos probably have turned on at 10%, automatically bought up. But what happens now? This is a lot of potential quote unquote trapped. Nobody's really trapped. You can always sell. But this is a lot of potential supply up here that has a potential to be introduced. We are also coming at the 200 EMA from the bottom side and the downtrending 21 EMA. So, and an area of prior supply of the 6650 to 60, basically 6600, right? So this is a lot of area of confluence to the downside. Also, the hedge fund data everyone should see, Goldman Sachs prime brokerage data. Hedge funds sold global equities fourth straight month, the fastest pace in 13 years, worse than pandemic era selling. Key details are selling driven by new short position. It's not just closing longs. So that's actually a little bit more bearish. They're not just exiting, they're actively betting against the market. So hedge funds' worst monthly drawdown in 4+ years was in 2026 or March of 2026. The bounce may be retail driven plus short covering, but is it really institutional accumulation? That's kind of hard. That's kind of hard to say. So again, SPX, we got a nice bounce. It bounced 3%, 3.4% this week, which is nice and all. It's at a prior potential area. It's at a prior support area, potential supply area. Same thing. NDX bounced after going down about 13-ish%, 12.5. That's a level right there. And where did it's bouncing to? Prior support areas. So does prior support come resistance and we continue to go down? What are we hitting from the downside? The 200 EMA. We're hitting down the declining 21 EMA to the downside. Maybe we even bounce to this 24,380-ish to 24,500 area. This also is a lot of potential supply to this little mini consolidation here relative to this large topping here. Really, if we want to say, if this starts pushing away, I think we can call this a confirmed double top. It's got to confirm and start going down again though. So overall, there's still been a lot of damage done. There's a lot of work to do. This isn't just going to turn around in 1 week. It's going to take weeks, if not months, to kind of fix the damage that's been done here. Microsoft, 32% off of all-time highs. We got that gap fill. I think it's more interesting if we get some selling down to 345 and then we get an undercut and a bounce to it. Maybe a bounce to the 21 this week. I'm not super interested here. Nvidia, the whole AI thing, it's not going away. Their H100 GPU prices surged 40%, and so AI demand, it's not going away whatsoever. Hedge funds are dumping it, but GPU scarcity is basically bullish for a fundamental floor. So also watch the China-Iran supply chain disruption for angles on chips. Really looking at the what happened here, undercut, and it might be rallying here. Where it goes, I don't know. But how do you trade this? This is a choppy, sloppy mess. So let me get these levels out of the way here. It's really, it's just, it doesn't look, it's not doing anything. It's not doing anything. Move on. Apple, actually pretty interesting. It held this prior support area here within this 245 area, 243 to 245. I would watch for a break of 255. Maybe you get up to 261, but you have to ask yourself, is that risk reward really worth it? Your entry really has to be pretty darn good. Amazon chopping around, not really doing much. Maybe it's basing here. This could be an area, if you're a position trader, could be an area of interest to start building a position if you're like mid, even to long term to investment. Who knows? Broadcom bouncing off this prior wick here, undercut and nice little rally. Doesn't really look good. Meta, it found supply at prior support. I would look for more potential downside, honestly. The 8's going down. It did close above the 8, but look at the 21. That's going down. The 50's going down. The 200's starting to go down. This just doesn't look good. Where could this go to? I think it's very interesting around 480, but looking at where price is right now, down to 480, that's another 16% down, where it's already, where does that put us? 37. That put us at like 43% off of all-time highs. That'd be pretty wild. But especially if you're a long-term investor, I think that area would be an interesting area of interest if we get down there. Overall, I'd be looking for a short trade, something somewhere around here, and something to risk against this high overall. All right, let's look at Netflix. Netflix is actually staying pretty strong, surprisingly so. Hitting the 200 EMA from the bottom. I have this little alert here. This was to risk against this high, but that was before this happened. I was actually looking for an entry here on the 6th of March. I missed it. So the trade would have worked. I just straight up missed it. The gap held. I think it has work to do. I have a hard time going longs here. Tesla, what's it doing? It's doing nothing. It's an area of interest in this general zone. But overall, I wouldn't be, I don't know, it's just bleeding. It's just bleeding. Google is at an interesting area, coming up to potential supply from below. So it broke this pretty important 300 to 295 area. Where did it bounce? Don't be surprised. At the 200 EMA, it bounced pretty darn good. But also at prior area of support here, this 271 to 270 area. So it's actually pretty interesting. I do think this is a potential short play here coming into next week. So just be mindful of that. You can always look into short setups. Maybe something to risk against this high here, especially if we get if we come over this high, tag the 50 and then come back into this 300 area. It might be a decent short there. CrowdStrike, I missed my I missed my 444 short up here. I put the trade out on X. Go look at it. It would have worked out beautifully. I just straight up missed it. Getting a nice little bounce here. It is technically a higher low, so the market is looking interesting so far with these names. They are at least consolidating. You can see now it's back at this prior support area. So actually, this area, maybe even today's, let's say the low here was 98.46. This low is 98.34. So somewhere within this $100 area, if you wanted to risk, a couple bucks at this 98.30, call it, that could be an interesting area to risk against. But you have to recognize you're underneath the anchor view app from the earnings gap down. You're underneath the downtrending 8 EMA and 21 EMA, and then also downtrending 50 EMA. So like, what are the odds of going long? Not good. PLTR, getting increased income from government basically because of the war. Broke this low. I did say, hey, I'm looking for this consolidation break. It did that. Now what happens, I don't know. I never know what happens, but what to look for is how it reacts as it comes back. Is it going to find supply again and make another lower low and then retest these lows here, or is it going to come back within this zone and head back higher? Not sure. An interesting look. Same thing with Hood, Robinhood, that is. It'll load. This consolidation here, it broke the lows, came back, retested, and then it pushed away. You have lower volume on the green day here. You had pretty low volume there relative to the red. So does it, I don't know. It's at an interesting level. Like it's ideally it's at a level to hold at, but it's not necessarily going to. You never know. So it could fall lower, especially if Bitcoin doesn't play. But I think it's an interesting long-term play. Micron bouncing, could find potential supply in this prior support area. So does prior support become resistance? We'll find out this week. AMD, this area continues, this 200 EMA, basically 200 EMA with confluence of the 194 to 190 area continues to be an area of interest. I said, hey, gap fill coming up, could be coming up. Last week it didn't happen, but maybe this week, right? But this overall, it's staying in a consolidation area too. I'm going to delete this. Well, actually, I'll keep that there. You can kind of see how it's respecting the downtrend. Again, the technical analysis is pretty subjective. You guys won't see charts the way that I see it, and I probably won't see charts the way that you see it. And that's okay. As long as you have a plan and you know how to manage your risk, there's concepts are few, methods are many, right? TSM, just ranging, nothing interesting. Oracle, continues to chop around, continues to consolidate. Most of these names, there's really not much to do. Adobe kind of looks like a bear flag, but has a lot of bottoming tails here, so there's a bid holding up here. So just be mindful, be careful of that. Coin, I missed my coin short along with my, sorry, I was looking for MSTR short. I put a short out at 136.50 on this day, on Thursday. It never retraced to it, and it just broke lower. So it would have been a great trade at an area of interest. Prior support here. Maybe we get a little bit of a bounce back to 133. We'll see what actually happens. Everything's downtrending. I think most of these names, you notice that the longer term EMAs, what a lot of hedge funds look at, a lot of long term investment people look at, they're heading down, except for the energy and defense sector. So LMT looks pretty interesting. It's back in range, but however, prior support held again. So if it comes back to this area, maybe if you wanted it to be a support trade, this low is 593.88. You might be able to risk against that. So with some, 603 or so, somewhere in here, you might be able to get a decent move. Just again, recognize you're below the 8 and 21 EMAs. Technically, you'd be below the 50 EMA too. So ideally, it's not the best trade. It's not the best setup. You don't want to be tossing your cash at setups that aren't the best. So it's not the top of my list. Ideally, you want it to break out. Northrop Grumman, NOC, they are continuing to downtrend here. Little bit of undercut and rally here, so it looks pretty decent. GE bouncing at prior area, undercut, rallied. We'll see if it actually holds this time around again. RTX bounced at prior support, hitting the 50 and declining 21 EMA from below. Not too sure. Exxon, I had a beautiful trade, the 80-20 trade on Monday. No, I lied. It was not Exxon. It was CVX. The idea is the same, though, although this isn't a true 80-20. Well, it could have been very close. Either way, I'll go over a CVX shortly here. But, breakout and coming back for the retest. So I would look for this area to come back. It's at the 21 EMA. So if there's no resolution, energy, I think, is still the place to be. Let's go over my trade in CVX. So basically what I did is you can see, number one, this move, right, has been a monster move. It had a nice push here, and it gets pretty extended away from the 8 EMA. So what happens is it's called an 80-20 trade. What I did was I was actually prepared for this. I was looking at the right time on the 30th. I took the short on Monday. As soon as it broke into Friday's day range, I shorted on this bar somewhere around here. I put the trade up. Go on my X, follow me. I put the trade up there and I risk the high of the day, right? And then you could see that the next day my stop was not taken out, and in the afternoon it just completely died. And then I covered somewhere down here. It's like 198. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure it was this bar right here. I put a nope. I think it was this bar. I'm pretty sure I put a stop loss at. It was right here. I put a stop loss at 198.62, and the high was 198.66. Either way, could have gotten a little bit more, but you know I'm not mad about it. It was a beautiful trade. It worked out nicely, and now looking at the daily, you know this could be a potential dip by higher energy, higher oil prices. I would, you know, I'd anticipate these guys getting some support from that. Also, if you can see this here, nice little tight consolidation area right there. Inside days, right? Breakout, and then there we go. So it's back into that range. What's the low of the day here? Low of the day, 194.69. Here it is, 194.91. So this area is interesting. Maybe it comes back to the 50 EMA, but I do think energy is still kind of the place to be. But you have to recognize, again, it takes one tweet, it takes one resolution, it takes something, just something of that, right? That's where this came from. That's where this pullback came from, was some sort of hope that the war is ending. So it just takes one. Realize that. It takes one. Okay? You're playing with fire here, per usual, but this can catch you off guard if you are not prepared. So you must be prepared. Maybe HAL, you're coming back for a breakout and a retest down here. I have this pivot on gap, this 33.37 to 37.08 in a level of interest. Confluence with the 21 EMA could be interesting trade. VLO failing to break out of the range. I would wait for it to break out to 47.50. Looks okay. You know, overall, all these energy names, they got hit last week. There is news on potential resolution, and that doesn't seem like it's happening yet. So until something changes, I don't think this really changes. KMI at a potential area of support. I was looking for a breakout last week. Obviously, did not get that at all. Failed breakout. Opposite end range is target. You see it play out over and over again. If you watch my videos, I point it out all the time. UPS might be balancing here. Has an area of support that's kind of holding. You can see this 94, this here, even if you look left, right around here. So it's 95-ish dollar area. But recognize 50 EMA is going down, 21 is going down, 8 is going down. Same thing with FDX. Oh, look at that. FDX is actually over this. This actually looks pretty decent. Above, I would look for a break really of Wednesday's highs. I don't know. This bar can be pretty hard to, that's high volume. That's not, I wouldn't say that's not the best breakup or setup. That's on earnings. All it did was sell and give it back, but it's holding. So it looks interesting. CME kind of ranging, finding support here, broke out of this area. So I think, you know, if you want to go on the shorter time frame, it is over the, let's go back on the daily. It's over the 8 EMA, it's over the 21 EMA, it's over the 50 EMA. This is the anchor VWAP from the all-time high. So all-time high, that's right. What could happen here is, what I wouldn't mind, honestly, if this fell back into somewhere within here, this price range, undercut maybe Thursday's low and then reclaimed. You can put a low on, let's just say this happened Monday, theoretically. You can put a stop at the low of that day and see if we get a follow through to this anchored view up to 308. Then I would anticipate it to potentially, right? So we do something like this. We get a little bit of sell, we undercut, and then we come back in. That's where you put your stop loss below this low. Okay, come resupply. There would be around here, and then we come back and continue on higher, right? So I anticipate some sort of retest here. You can see that it failed here, right? So it is an area of interest. You also have to recognize, look at the 30-minute time frame again. Right here, it's at a potential area of supply as well. So this is prior support. It failed to break down. It's now retesting that. So just be mindful of that. Okay, if you're buying here, just maybe it needs, this is again why it might need to pull back on a lower time frame, set a higher low relative to this little consolidation area, then maybe it can like charge up, consolidate, and get enough energy to break that. All right, overall hopefully that is helpful for you guys. Just know I'm not going to tell you that the bounce is fake. I'm not going to tell you that to chase it either. What I'm going to tell you is this: hedge funds are short, oil's at 112, and the Iran war isn't over. That's not a backdrop for a reckless aggression on the long side. Okay, we respect the chart, we manage our risk, and we let the market show us what it wants to do. Bank earnings start in less than 2 weeks. That is when we get real clarity of where this economy actually stands. Until then, manage your risk, protect your capital, and I'll see you. And honestly, hopefully, I see you in our trading group. If you want, here's earnings coming up this week. We got Delta, AEHR. Go watch my other video. I just did a technical analysis on that. That's an interesting one coming up this week. Otherwise, economic calendar. We have ISM on Monday, 10 o'clock. Durable goods on Tuesday. FOMC minutes on Wednesday. We got a ton of stuff on Thursday. And then Friday, we got a ton of stuff there too. So we have a very busy week coming up this week. Okay. So hopefully that's helpful. Drop a comment below. Do you think this bounce is real or do you think it's dead cat? Let me know. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We drop 2 videos every week. I'll be trying to add more as best as I can. And I'll see you in the next one. Later.